Yeah, hello, Bonk. Can you confirm if you can hear me now?
You're perfect.
All right, awesome, awesome. Thank you guys very much for joining. So we're currently on the 26th on the call. So we'll be expecting more persons to join. So today's session is going to be very, very brief and succinct. Believe Tesoro is also on the call with me. So let's please, if you're just joining us for the first time, please indicate with a one in the chat. I would love to see the newcomers that are just joining us for the first time. Please drop a one in the chat. All right. Side Crypt Ola, welcome. More ones. Can we have those ones flooring? Samsung, iPhone, good to have you here. Yes, awesome. So, and I would love to know where you are joining us from, right? So if you're joining us from Canada, the US, the UK, please also indicate that in the chat. So I believe we always have a diverse location range on our calls. Yeah, awesome. Wumi from Lagos, Samsung from Nigeria. We're expecting more persons to join us. So please let's engage the chat. Let's see where you are joining us from. All right, Lydia from Scotland. All right, so we'll get started shortly. I'll be sharing my screen and we'll dive right into the session. Okay, Ubon, kindly confirm you can see my slide.
Okay, I think it's loading. Yeah, perfect. You can see it now. Okay, I think it's loading.
All right, so good, good. Welcome to everyone joining us from wherever you are joining us from, rather. Yeah, so today we have a very interesting subject we'll be dealing with within the next 1 hour. We are focused on requirements gathering techniques for business analysts. And I would always say that requirement gathering is one of the bread and butter of every BA, right? To get started as a BA, there's no how you would not know how to gather requirements. Because for you to be able to solve any problem, you should be able to know how to navigate your way, right? How do you intend to find solutions that would enable you to solve your problem, right? So we'll be having a quick dive into requirements gathering techniques for business analysis within the next 1 hour. So please, if you want to share the session links to a friend that you know would be joining us, that you love to join, that you'd love he or she to join us in the session, please do that right away before we get started. All right, so moving on about analytics, I'll quickly just want to just share a little bit about what we do. So we're an edtech company helping Africans in Africa, Africans in the diaspora. Those guys are jackpot, right? Africans in the diaspora, as well as the Black community, get started into tech. And how do we do that? We provide them with the premium tech opportunities, premium tech skills. Now they enable them, lower the entry into tech for these individuals in this region. And our service offerings encompasses data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, down to Scrum Master, and actually the entire data ecosystem to enable our clients achieve a data-driven decision making. And our facilitators into analytics cut across diverse professional sectors, coming from notable organizations like Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey and Company, Amazon, PwC, KPMG, Coca-Cola, and you can name as much as you can. Yeah, we have you guys covered, right? Our program are actually structured in a way that will make it practical and ensure that you get the optimal value, for your time. And who were the brains behind Analytics? I'll be introducing you to the co-founders, Adeiza, Suleiman, and also Efemina Ipro. So Adeiza is the co-founder of Analytics. He's also a data analytics expert. He has close to a decade experience in data analytics and management consulting. He has worked in the sports. He has worked in professional services. He has worked in edtech, energy, and automobile. And he has personally trained over 8,500 participants and help them get started in tech. And I trust that you will be one of the persons that would days I will be training in 2024. And also, let's move on to the guy on suit. That's the co-founder of Analytics, Efemenai Pro. Efemenai Pro is a data science contractor in the UK and in the US. He has worked as a business data support lead in Post Office UK, also as a global business system analyst in Teleflex in Ireland. He also has a year of experience cutting across sectors in data analytics, data science, data engineering, as well as power platform development, right? So quickly, who would be speaking with you today, right? And I super glad to be doing this with Tesoro. Tesoro is a very big gun in the business analysis space in Nigeria, right? So and Tesoro currently works as a business process analyst in Wema Bank PLC, where he works with various stakeholders to optimize business processes, document functional requirements, design and implement IT solutions, as well as conduct user acceptance tests. Before working with Wema Bank, Tesoro also worked as an information technology business analyst with Fidelity Bank. He has close to 8 years experience working as a business analyst, leveraging latest skills and tools for data analysis, software development, as well as user experience design. And here is me, Elijah. I am the growth lead at Analytics. I have close to 4 years working experience on high-level projects alongside C-suite executive, cutting across NGOs, education, finance, and technology. Like I said, we would not be wasting further time because of the timing, right? So we'll go right into today's session. So what will we be doing today? So we'll be looking at number one, what is business analysis? Who is a business analyst? And also we'll move down to skills to learn to become a business analyst and how to land the first job as a business analyst. And we'll then look into a case study of gathering requirements for a business organization, right? Then I would come back. Tesla will take the first two sessions, and I'll come back to share with us our upcoming cohort that will be coming on in March 2nd, 2024. And I will share with you some of our students who have gone through our program and have landed jobs as a business analyst, regardless of the educational background they had, regardless of having a prior tech experience. And I have a special discount for everyone that will be staying till the end of the session, right? So Tessa, if you are here, please say hi so I can, spotlight you and bring you on the stage.
Hi, hello.
Awesome. All right, super glad to have you here, Tessa. So I believe you can take the floor now.
Okay, thank you very much, Elijah. Thank you, everyone, and good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to this section today. Elijah has said a whole lot. I will not bore us with any other introduction. That was perfect from Elijah. All right, so I want to start by raise of hands or just indicate in the comment in the chat. How many of us know who a business analyst is? If you know who a business analyst is and what business analysis is, can I see us drop a 1? If you don't know, please drop a 0. Let's start from there, then we'll go into what requirement gathering is and that. So if you don't know what business analysis is, you don't know who a business analyst is, you drop 0. If you have an idea what it is, you can drop a 1 for us. Okay, I'm seeing some zeros. Additional, Ebenezer, Abosede. Okay, 1 from iPhone. Cryptic says 0. Nuru says 1. Elijah 0. Okay. All right, awesome. This is awesome. So it's a good place for us to start. So if I'd ask, Nuru, you said you understand you know who a business analyst is or what business analysis is. In a few words, can you just type for us? What do you understand by business analysis? While I share my screen for us to go through what we have for today. Very briefly, we won't be taking so much of our time, but it is my honest desire that this few minutes we're going to be spending together are going to be very productive. Please confirm that you can see my presentation.
Yes, we can. Good to go.
Okay. All right, so I'm still looking out for those definitions. Nuru, David, you said you put a 1, so that's positive. Can you tell us what you understand? Okay, so while we wait, while you do that for us, let's proceed. Okay, so we are going to be looking at, first of all, before we look at business analysis, let's look at what business is in the first place, right? So we can just build onto what business analysis is, and we'll take it from there. So, of course, you know that for business analysis to happen, we need to have a business, right? There has to be a business. So, a business exists, and as we can see on our screen, there are, constraints. There are constraints in the environment where the business exists, right? There's competition, there are vendors, you have to deal with customers, you have to deal with regulation, there are political constraints, you have technology, you have partners, you have legal, all of those things exist within the business environment, right? But yes, we still need to thrive and do business, right? We need to remain profitable and stay in business. Now, that's how do I put it down? That series of activities that we perform that will take us from where we are as a business and where we want to go to. You agree with me that businesses don't do the same thing every year, right? At the beginning of every year, you have a strategy, a growth strategy, or you come up with some set of activities or plans that you're going to do in this year that will give you a leverage over other businesses, or will help you do better than you did last year. And that those series of activities that would need to occur to take us from business as usual to the point where we say our business is growing is where we need business analysis, right? It's business analysis will help you identify that direction that you need to go as a business for you to be able to, make some change, make some growth in your business, positive growth in the business. Are we following? I would want to see us drop comments. If you're following, let me see you drop a 1. At least you've followed us so far. Let me see you drop a 1 in the chat. Okay, thanks. Okay, I can see the ones coming in. Okay, keep them dropping. All right, so yes, so that's that need that we have. That's the series of activities that we need to conduct to take our business from where it is to where growth is why we need business analysis in our business. All right, so now, like I said, business analysis is a enabler. It helps us to identify what is required, to what we need to do to achieve our goal, to achieve that change that we seek, to help us leave that business as usual to the growth stage where we want to be, or that goal that we have set for ourselves. Right. So the International Institute of Business Analysis have defined business analysis to be a set of tasks and techniques that are used to work as a liaison among stakeholders in order to understand the structure, policies, and operations of an organization, and to recommend solutions that enable the organization to achieve its goals. Simply put, the set of activities that are conducted, there are tasks and techniques, they have to be done in a certain kind of way for us to identify the gaps that exist in the business, for us to identify the conditions that we need to fulfill for us to take the organization from one place to the other. Remember the illustration I gave, business as usual and the good stage, right? So business analysis is what is going to help us to identify what we are going to do, and then using a set of tasks and techniques to achieve that goal, to achieve that level that we want to be as a business. And a business analyst is the guy who does that. So business analysis, may you may not carry the title of a business analyst, say business analyst, but if you are involved in this in the activities of identifying gaps in the business and recommending solutions, you are in a way doing business analysis, right? There are a lot of persons who do business analysis without even knowing that they are doing business analysis. This masterclass, amongst other things, would help you understand and identify exactly what business analysis is and what the role of a business analyst, regardless of the name that role is called, does, and then how it impacts on the development of the business. I believe that we are following. So we're going to be looking at further definitions of who a business analyst is, right? Business analyst is an agent of change. From what I've explained up to this moment, you'd agree with me that a business analyst is an important place, or business analysis is important in the change that would happen in the business, right? Where we want to take our business from business as usual to where our business is a successful business. We need business analysis. We need a business analyst to be sure to ensure that change happens. So a business analyst is a change agent from all ramifications. You can call a business analyst also a gatekeeper, right? To help to know and to determine what change is necessary, right? In a desire for a business to achieve their goals, they may just be, casting their net into every water. A business analyst would help to say, okay, this change at this point of this business is not necessary. But we'll go into that in a moment. This is just to drive down this point. And then I forgot to also mention, if you have questions, right? If you have questions and you think you need clarification, you can just drop that in the chat. Elijah would help me spot that if I don't see it on time, and then would be glad to attend to you, and answer your questions as we move on. So business analysis is used to identify and articulate the need for a change in how a business works. That's what I've been repeating on and on and on. As business analysts, we identify and define solution, right? So we don't leave it at the point of saying, okay, guys, this is what we need to do, blah, blah, blah. We also identify and define solutions that we are sure that would help us get to that place. There's something we call solution review in business analysis. So by the time you find out what the problem is, what is required to do, then we look for the best solution that will take us to where we want to go, so that our business analysis efforts are successful and are driving us towards the organization goal, instead of just having activities that don't give us that result. Now, solutions that would maximize the value delivered by an organization to its stakeholders is very key. Business analysts work across all levels of an organization. Me, for example, when Elijah was introducing me, he said I currently work with Wema Bank. Wema Bank has over 250 branches in the country, and I work to support every single one of them as a business analyst across different projects. If you look at my portfolio now, you'll be wondering why I am, how I'm even able to sleep, because there are a whole lot of things. Problems will come out every day. There will be opportunities in the market for us to grab every day. And then a business analyst is that very fast-thinking guy who is able to help the organization even proactively identify opportunities that may become available that the organization yet doesn't know about, right? And then you are able to also define strategies on how to make the best out of these opportunities, or if there are threats, define strategies on how to mitigate the effects of whatever may happen, if an action is not taken. So a business analyst is that proactive person. We don't sit down waiting for ideas to come, somebody to prompt us to do something. We are always out there, doing our job, which is continuous improvement, right? Making sure that the processes, the products, the applications we use, everything in the organization is up and running and is of the standard. We are running efficiently, we are saving costs, and we are making profit for the business. Right. So worthy of note also, I marked here the value of business analysis in realizing the benefits, realization of benefits, avoidance of cost, which I just mentioned, identification of new opportunities, understanding the required capabilities, and modeling the organization. It is very, very important. We don't sit around to wait, right? As a business analyst, you always have to put on your business analyst cap, and then you are proactive enough for you to go ahead of the organizations, and you are always ready when called upon. Simply put, business analysis help businesses do business better. That is why we do what we do every day. Help businesses to do business better. That's the job. Now, so there are diverse profiles within the business analyst realm. There are a whole lot of names. I just decided to put this few that may be common on the in this presentation so that we'll look at it. So you can see the title business analyst, you can see IT business analyst, you can see process analyst, and in process analyst, you can also see business process analyst, which is my current role. You can see enterprise analyst, functional analyst, business architect, system architect, requirements engineer. All of these are titles that a business analyst would carry in an organization. These are just few of them. There are several other titles that you would see, but essentially the job description is that of a business analyst. And then the mindset of a business analyst, I was talking earlier when I mentioned that business analysts have to be proactive, and you always have to wear the cap of a business analyst. It means that the business analyst has to always think in a certain kind of way. You have to have a question mind. You have to always know that you want to solve the right problem. You know that there is a lot of solutions to a problem, which includes also doing nothing. Doing nothing is also a solution to a problem. But a business analyst, your mindset should be, I should solve the right problem all of the time. There's no provision for having a failed solution, right? While that may exist, that is not what we aim at. We aim at always solving the right problem and having the best solutions. You focus on business, question everything. Why? How? Why is our business the way it is, right? Why are we making profits? You have to know, somebody said something, if something works, you don't touch it or you don't try to fix it. Not in business analysis. If it works, let's know why it's working, because we're going to have several other projects and several other solutions that we need to do. So let's know why this one is working so that we can put it in our lessons learned document. By the time we're doing the next project, we're able to say, okay, this is what helped us succeed the last time. Let's apply it again or even do better. A business analyst has to be a leader. You have to sharpen your facilitation skills. Analysis before synthesis. You have to have information before you draft out requirements, which is what we are going to do in this class, right? Requirements. I'm just trying to run over this so that we'll go into the major. But before that, I want to introduce us to, sorry about that, who a business analyst is and exactly what a business analyst is. Business analysis is, Elijah was speaking and he said requirements gathering is the core, it is the mother of what a business analyst do. If you get that wrong, believe me, the whole solution might just come out to be wrong. Requirement gathering, requirement analysis, requirement elicitation is the major in any project at all. And that's the responsibility of you and I, business analysts. All right, so be part of the solution. It is very common for people to say, okay, I've done my job, I recommended the solution to them, whatever they like, let them do. A business analyst is part of the solution. You own it. That is you. That is your baby that you gave birth to. Permit me to use that, right? So you have to be part of the solution. You have to be able to manage human beings, expect anything from human beings. A business analyst has to learn, adapt. I'm currently working on a project. right? I've been having sleepless nights learning because I found out that what we seek to achieve, or how we seek to achieve what we seek to achieve doesn't really even exist in the industry here in Nigeria. There's a bank in South Africa, Nedbank, that has done the same thing that we seek to do. I've been looking for information, looking on LinkedIn. Let me just even make friends with somebody who works in that bank and in the department where I want, make friends with them, ask them questions. I found a few persons who promised to point me to the right people within the organizations, but you know how these things are. We are both competing. I don't know if they want to come to Nigeria or we want to move to South Africa, but we are competing in the same space. So, it's becoming, but I'm striving. I need to learn. I need to know what they are doing right and apply it in my own organization. At every point in time, on every project, I keep learning. It is a mindset that a business analyst should have. You always need to update your knowledge. You always need to learn so that you stay informed. Every project comes with its own challenges. So it is advisable for you to be prepared for that challenge. Now, competencies of a business analyst. What are the competencies of a business analyst? Or what is even a competence? Competence is the ability to do a particular activity in a prescribed standard. Like when I was defining business analyst, I said it's a technique. So it means we are doing things in a certain kind of way. So you need to develop ability. You need to develop competencies to be able to carry out business analysis work, which is necessary, which is why sessions like this are holding so that knowledge can be shared. Now, for the purpose of this section, a business analysis competence is defined as the ability needed to perform the business analyst role, right? So we're bringing it down to business analyst now. The competence will be defined as the ability that you need to perform the business analyst role. So what are these? They're broken it down into personal qualities, business knowledge, and then professional techniques. Under personal qualities, we have communication, facilitation. We have under business knowledge, domain knowledge, commercial awareness. We have professional techniques like stakeholder analysis and management, requirements engineering, which we are going to do in this class. Then investigation, data, and process modeling, right? Then we go further to look at more competencies here under the personal qualities, business knowledge, and professional techniques. They are very, very important. All of these will contribute to your professional conduct, your professional delivery of your business analyst role. We talk about personal skills like influencing, facilitation, problem solving, leadership. Because as a business analyst, you deal with a lot of human beings, right? They are stakeholders. Your stakeholders are human beings that you deal with. On some projects, there may be a lot of persons. Some, there will be fewer persons. You need to learn how to manage people, manage their temperament, solve problems, be able to make decisions, be able to lead people. Then when we go to the business knowledge, you have things like the commercial awareness. You need to know what's obtainable in the market, right? You need to know what's happening. Business case development, domain knowledge. Pretty much in analytics, we teach you to have all of these things, right? Teach you to have all of these things. But I will not dwell so much here because we have requirements analysis, requirements gathering to do. Now, how do you develop competencies? Number one is training. Just like we're having this session now, you need to be trained to have these competencies. Secondly, you need to do personal study. Just like I mentioned, on projects that I work on, I have to go an extra mile to study, to do personal study, to be able to have the knowledge that I need to execute that project, right? That industry engagement, you need to have make connections, make network with business analysts within your industry so that you are able to contact them, you're able to learn from their experiences. Sorry, is somebody trying to say something, or me? I think your mic is on, and there's some. Okay, all right. So you
Yeah, hello, Tessero. Okay, yeah.
All right,
Audio
yeah.
from you.
Okay, thank you. So you need to network with people within your industry to be able to have a reference point, somebody to call. You know, I have colleagues that I call, you know, that work in the financial sector with me that I call, say, man, I'm having issues with this project. Have you had an experience? Can you share? And then most times these interactions just help spark something in me that helps me to attack my own challenge and get my results. So that networking, that industry engagement is very necessary. Then work experience, you know, as you continue to work on different projects with different groups of persons, you keep learning. There's a document in business analysis we call a lessons learned document. For every project, we maintain a lessons learned document that helps us to even go back and look at it, say, okay, what were the things we did right? What were the things we didn't do right? How did we learn from this project? You know, and all of that. You know, so all of this will work together to build your competencies, build your confidence in your competencies as a business analyst. That's why we highly recommend, you know, that you train, and especially train with us at Analytics. All right. So, what are the things? What are the tools, methodologies, techniques, and technology available to business analysts? You know, on the tools, we have modeling tools, we have MS Word and PowerPoint, basically the Office Suite, GUI Designer, Case Complete, Visio, Prototype, Prototyper, all of those, how to use these tools contained in our training. So methodology, we have Agile XP, Scrum, you know, all of those methodologies. We also teach them. They're available for business analysts to use depending on, you know, peculiar cases like the project or organizations where you find yourself. Techniques, elicitation, we're going to be doing that here. Presentation, data modeling. Then technology, we use software applications, architecture platforms, and also trends. All right, so we are going into requirement now. I want to find out, is this a good place? Do we understand all the way to this point? And we can move into requirements fundamentals now and learn how to gather requirements as a business analyst. Please drop one if you're good. Okay, Ola, we see you. All right. Okay, keep them coming. All right. Okay, that's fine. Fantastic. Okay, so it means we can proceed. So I've been talking requirement. What then is requirement, right? What is requirement? This thing we're calling requirement, what is it? Now, a requirement is defined by IIBA, International Institute of Business Analysis, as a condition or a capability required by a stakeholder. A stakeholder can be a customer, it can be executive management, to solve a problem or achieve an objective. Basically, what do we need? Let's go back to the illustration I gave us earlier about business as usual, and then the target where we want to be. Now, requirements would be those things that we need to do, those conditions that we need to meet, the capabilities that we need our business or our business systems to have for us to reach that goal that we have set for us. That's what simply a requirement is. All right, so what then is requirement analysis or requirement engineering or requirement gathering or all of that? It is the process we use to determine what these needs are, what the needs are, what the expectations are, what the conditions are to meet this goal that we are setting, to say, okay, if it's a new product, what are the conditions that are going to be met for us to say we have this product ready? Right? And then usually in requirement gathering, it involves a lot of communication with stakeholders. Like I mentioned earlier, you would talk to a lot of people, right? You need to engage a lot of people. Okay. In some cases, it may not be people, it may be documents, it may be data. We're going to be looking at that shortly, right? But usually because you're working with human beings, you'd have to engage people. Somebody has to point you towards the right direction of a document or something. You also have to, be able to manage these people, to be sure that you get these requirements out of them. Somebody may have a question in their mind. We are doing this for the benefit of the business and the stakeholders. Why would I have to even manage these guys? A lot of people are scared of change, right? A lot of people are scared of change. And once you tell them that, okay, maybe for like process management, for example, you guys use a whole lot of paper and there's too much human intervention in this process. We want to get a robot to be able to do this thing, so that you just supervise. The first thing that comes to this guy's mind is, oh, you want to get a robot and sack me. And then he will want to try every means to frustrate you so that you don't get this project done. The way to go around this is to assure this guy that he has his job. You just want to make his job easier and optimize the business's processes so that we can make more profit. So those issues will come in. They are the skills that you have to learn as a business analyst to be able to pacify these stakeholders and let them know that we are not trying to take your job. We want to make your job easier for you, to do. Now, there are stages in requirements analysis, right? And there are basically 4 stages, and we're going to be looking at them right now. Requirements gathering and elicitation. It's the first thing you do, basically. You go to these stakeholders, if it's documentation, if it's interview, if you are doing observation, these are techniques that we use for requirement analysis. We'll be looking at that in the coming slides, right? Gather your information. That's the first thing that you do. The next thing is to validate it. You have to call these people together again after gathering it and say, guys, I heard you guys say A, B, C, and D. Am I correct? So that you have their validation, you have their go ahead to say what you have gathered, what you are documenting. It's exactly what we told you. It's exactly what the requirements are so that you're not getting anything wrong. You see why I said that requirement gathering is one of the very key things that happens in a project, because if we get it wrong at this stage, we are just working towards failure, because we need to get these requirements right. Okay, so after that, we model the requirements. By modeling the requirements, we mean that we are going to draw a process map. It could be as simple as a process map to a maybe low fidelity or high fidelity designs, that will show a visual representation of what these requirements are. Right, so it's the job of the business analyst to model these requirements, come up with diagrams, with a process map, with designs that shows us exactly what these requirements are. So if it's a product, we are going to as well draw up or design the product how it should look like in maybe a low fidelity mockup or a high fidelity mockup, so that the people, when they see it, they have like a visual understanding of what we are trying to achieve, be it a process, be it a product, or whatever it is. That's what requirement modeling is. Then requirement documentation and sign-off. Very, very important step. If you have done all 3 and you don't do 4, you are as good as not having requirements, right? Because you need to document these requirements, and you need to get the stakeholders, important stakeholders, decision makers in each of the affected departments, or as may be stated by the organizations, to sign off these requirements. If it's not done that way, you as well don't have requirements. You have not completed the stages of the requirement gathering and analysis stages, because for requirements to be valid, they have to be signed off, they have to be approved, and then that's what you are going to be working on throughout the project. All right, so we're going to be looking at techniques, right? Techniques that we use for requirement gathering, requirement elicitation. Okay, so like we said, requirement gathering is where we search, where we discover, where we find out what the requirements are. Okay, so we're going to be looking at 5 techniques: interviews, workshop, observation, brainstorming, and document analysis. All right. brainstorming and document analysis. All right, so we're going to go straight into interviews now. Now, interviews, like we know, I know that a lot of us understand what interviews is, but in this context, okay, it is where a business analyst meets one or more stakeholders to ask them questions, and then document the responses for them to understand exactly what they want to work with, the requirements for the product, the process, or the project, as the case may be. And then interviews would help build relationships with your stakeholders. Interviews could be structured or unstructured, right? That is, you have predefined questions, that you are asking logical order that, would make sense, or unstructured. Maybe you guys are having coffee and you decide to just ask them questions so that they feel relaxed, or you can use the combination of the both. I prefer to use a combination of the both, because the truth is, when it gets too serious, these guys may just want to, hold back a bit, but you get to touch the personal side of them. Personally, my trick is my stakeholders. I try to build a relationship with them, right? I try to build a relationship, then we do the work. When it comes to the work, we do the work, but then at the back of our minds, we know that, oh, okay, we are G's. We have something kind of existing, even if it's not so informal. It's just within the office. We chat sometimes, we have coffee together sometimes, we have lunch together sometimes. Maybe he brings a cup of coffee or soft drink to my floor when he's coming over. Yeah, so that thing exists, and then they are open to answer your questions. Most times when I'm going for requirement gathering interviews, I go with maybe biscuits or soft drink or something. I say I came bearing great gifts, and then we laugh over it. We start the business of the day. And sometimes they don't even realize that I'm there to gather requirements. It's at the end they say, "Wait, what's all this for?" I say, "Oh, we're trying to work on something new." And then I tell them what it is about. Then we discuss the work part of things, right? I'm stressing this because of what I mentioned earlier: resistance to change. You have to be able to manage resistance to change right from where you are gathering requirements as a business analyst. Now, what are the benefits of interviews? They enable detailed discussions on questions and even observations of non-verbal actions. So when you meet this person in person or maybe over a video call, you see how they react to the questions that you ask. You are able to take cues from there to understand, what is going on. Then it allows for follow-up questions to clarify doubts. So you can ask them as many questions as possible just to follow up, to know that you're getting the right answer, and then you can assure them of their confidentiality if that is required in that particular situation. So that's interviews. Okay. Are we following? If you are following, please drop a 1. Please drop a 1 in the group if you are following. If you need me to go over anything, you can just write it down or just take note of the questions. You can ask that by the time we okay, guys, so it means that we are following. So from interviews, we'll go into the next, which is workshop. So workshop is pretty much like an interview, right? But in a workshop, we bring SMEs. SMEs means subject matter experts, across the business. For example, in my banking sector, for example, if we are trying to build a product to sell to customers, right? We are going to bring in the front desk officers. We're going to bring in marketing, business development. We're going to bring in pretty much everybody who has something to do along the chain of that product and sit them down in a room. Professionals in their various departments, in their various fields, and then have a conversation, ask questions, facilitate, and be able to come up with the right information that we need from everybody's perspective. So if there are conflicting ideas, we are even able to resolve it there in that workshop, and then come up with our clear, key items that we need to work on to be able to proceed in that project. So a workshop would usually include a neutral third party, which is a facilitator. Most times the business analysts act as the neutral third party and just try to be able to, get information from all of these guys that you've put together in one room for the discussions. Then is also the facilitator may also be the scribe, or you can have a scribe. If it's a team of business analysts, you can have your colleague who is facilitating, another person who is a scribe, just to make sure that you don't leave anything out. And workshops in this time and age can happen virtually, they can happen physically. I really do love the physical workshops, majorly because of the item 7. There's usually item 7. So yeah, I love that because I get to see people, I get to see their reactions. We get to have very valid conversations. And also item 7, very important. All right, so what are the key benefits of workshops? Workshops foster collaboration and help participants to develop and share understanding and reach decisions in quick time. Just like I said, if there are any discrepancies, if somebody has a different idea of what the process is, another person has different ideas, it is an opportunity for us to agree on one thing and move forward. Then it prevents any confusion that may result from having separate discussions with individuals, which is what I essentially explained. So every confusion will be treated right there in that workshop, and we'll end up dining together before we leave the room. Okay, that's if it's physical. All right, so that's workshops. Observation. Observation is another requirement gathering technique that would require a business analyst to sit down and watch and collect information, see how these things are done, right? It could take a few days, it could take weeks, it could take a few hours, for you to observe and know that chain, but you are actively observing what is happening, how they do the work that they do, and then you gather your information. And this technique is even very, very nice because you can also ask questions where you don't understand, and document your finding. Observation provides practical insight, that's the key benefit, right, into the actual real-world activities, and even enables the identification of informally performed tasks. By informally performed tasks, we mean those tasks are done, but they are not actually documented anywhere, maybe in the standard operating procedures of that department, of that or that organization that we do this, but it is part of the process. It's not documented, but it's done. So it gives you the opportunity to see that and factor it into whatever decision or whatever solution that you want to come up with. So that's observation for us. Then brainstorming. So brainstorming is basically promoting creative thinking. Get participants in the room and say, okay, this is what we have on ground. Everybody bring your thoughts. So brainstorming is actually also a requirement gathering technique that would help you come up with requirements, right? You get your best minds in the room, get a facilitator. It could be you, it could be someone else, who would start up the discussion and make sure that everybody contributes. No, it's that kind of session where you say no idea is a useless idea. Let's come up with our suggestions. Let's come up with information. Let's come up with ways that we can tackle this issue that we have on ground. How do we achieve this goal that we are set out to achieve? You understand? Then that is it's in a session like this that you are going to get all of that. And somebody, of course, a scribe, would document all of the things and then set out clear action steps after the brainstorming session that will be used as requirements for the project. What are the key benefits? Brainstorming creates a tension-free and non-judgmental environment, because we've set that ground to say every idea is welcome, no idea is a trash, and all of that. So you encourage people to think creatively, bring up ideas. Even in a nonsense ideas, you can still have a small sense in it if you mix them up together and they're able to. Brainstorming are my favorite, especially when it comes to solution requirements. I love to brainstorm. I just go, I have a a medium-sized team of about 25 persons. So I go to individuals first of all, right? I sample the opinion. So what do you guys think? Then we come together in a room, usually once a week, to look at solution review, brainstorm on solution review, and then everybody attacks it from different angles to say, okay, I think this way we should do it, and then everybody contributes, and then we end up having requirements that are watertight, that we are able to capture everything, and everybody's encouraged to speak their mind. It just helps to, collaborate and have our requirements well captured. Then it leads to elicitation of wide amount of information in a short span of time. Yes, and it helps discover and touch upon unexplored areas, which is just what I just said, right? There are a lot of ideas. You alone cannot think of all of that. Imagine 25 of us coming together to look at one thing. Would come up with areas, people will look at things from different perspectives that we didn't see, that nobody saw. Yesterday we had a brainstorming session, and after I looked at the idea, I said, fantastic. And then I called the attention of the team. I said, CBN released a circular, recently, and it sounded like something that has to do with this solution we're talking about. Have you seen it? And then the team at that time did not even think about that circular and reviewing the content as it relates to the solution that we're talking about, and they had to go look at that, right? So it could be something small, but it could bring change. It could bring an additional requirement to what you are looking at. Document analysis, just like observation. Document analysis is a requirement gathering technique. In this case, you have a document. It could be data. It could be standard operating procedures. It could be recordings. It could be videos, right? But you have a document that you need to analyze, right? You get information from you. Sometimes you may combine this with other techniques, like when you're done analyzing the documents to get your requirements, you also validate this, to be sure that the document captures, up-to-date information as it regards the process, the project, or the product that you are trying to work on. What are the key benefits? Document analysis leverages reliable material that is already in place, and available for use. You already have that, so you can just go there to look at it. Somebody just points you in the direction and you look at it. It helps to clearly identify between what is current and what is not, hereby serving as basis for future analysis. One of the ways to do this is to also validate against what is currently done in the organization. So then it can be in conjunction with other elicitation techniques as well. Just like I mentioned, it can be a preparatory material. You could have document analysis, look at the document to arm you against maybe an interview or a workshop, so that you know very well what you're going into the workshop to hear, so that everything doesn't sound like news to you by the time you get into the workshop, so that you are getting to learn more and get more information from the stakeholders. Now, what is the purpose of all of these techniques you have been looking at? It is gathering requirements. What are requirements? Requirements are those conditions, those needs that we need to meet to be able to take us from the point of business as usual to the goal that we need to achieve in our business. That goal could be a product, it could be process improvement, it could be service improvement, it could be investment in a new technology, whatever the goal is. Requirement gathering techniques would help us get what we need, exactly what we need, the requirements that we need for our project. And remember that you need to gather these requirements, you need to validate them, you need to model these requirements, and you need to get these requirements approved before they are considered as requirement. Then we looked at the five techniques of how to gather requirements. Now we're going to look at sample questions. Okay, what kind of questions do you ask? You ask open-ended questions when you're doing requirement gathering, and you ask them in a logical sequence. to be making sense as they are going, so that the guy keeps spilling and spilling. So, you know, all the participants of your interview or your whatever session you're having, you know, it kind of makes sense to them as they answer their questions. Questions like, I'm curious, what led to this idea? You know, that's defining the business problem. They will tell you what the business problem is. You know, tell me more about what inspired this idea. You know, these kind of questions will inspire the participants to give you more information about the project that you are looking at. All right. So, sorry about that. Okay, so that's about the sample questions. What led to this decision? What would you like to see happen? Those are questions that spark conversations around functional requirements. Then what will excite you when you see this working? You know, that helps you prioritize what you want to do first, you know, and then you ask them to show you how it currently happens, walk you through, show me what is currently happening, walk me through it. Yeah, that's the as is process. That is what they currently do, you know, and then you show some kind of excitement and tell them this, you know, I'm excited to better understand the history of how this came about. You know, then that gives you an idea of what the project background is. You know, you ask them questions. You know, we're not cast in stone, right? We're just giving you an idea of the kind of questions that you ask that would give you, you know, answers. Depending on who you're talking to, you may want to structure your questions differently. But basically, these are the ideas behind these questions that help you get answers, help you get requirements from your stakeholders. All right, so there are types of requirements. We're going to briefly be looking at these types of requirements. You know, these requirements come in handy at different stages. Not all projects may require all, but you know, most projects may require a couple of them. And then, yeah, you have to understand which is which, especially when it comes to the types of requirements. So we look at type of requirement description and then an example. I think time is fast spent. We need to just quickly run over this because I also intend for us to do a small practical together before we call this a close. So business requirements, basically. Business requirements is a high level goals, objectives, and needs of the organization, you know, that the software or a solution intends to achieve. Basically, high level, where we want to be, you know. So it could be, an example is, the system shall improve customer satisfaction by streamlining the order processing workflow. The high-level requirement is to streamline the order processing workflow, right? It doesn't state some of the functions, what the user wants to see, and all of those things. That is not stated. We are looking at the main goal. What do we want to achieve? We want to achieve a streamlined this order processing workflow. That's a business requirement, okay? Straightforward. User requirements. This one describes what the user needs are and their expectations, what the user wants to see in terms of, you know, functionalities on that system. So a user can say, I want to be able to see an intuitive and a user-friendly interface for data entry. For example, at the part where I need to enter my information, maybe for login or by delivery information, since we're doing an order processing workflow, right? I need it to be user-friendly for me to be able to enter information. User requirements could go like, I want the system to be able to remember my last used address, you know, stuff like that, so that it makes it easier for the user. That's an example of a user requirement. Now, a system requirement, well, number 3 now, describes the attributes and behaviors of the entire system, you know, rather than individual components, right? So the system requirement could be, the system shall be compatible with operating systems XYZ. That is, the system should be compatible with maybe Mac OS and then Windows, okay, or Ubuntu, any of those ones. Now, that speaks to, the requirement of the system that we're building to be compatible with maybe an operating system or maybe applications that we already have existing on our premises. Okay, then interface requirements describes how the software interacts with external system, hardware, or software components. An example could be the system shall have an API. API stands for Application Programmable Interface that allows integration with a third-party payment processor. Okay, for example, we are streamlining the order processing workflow, and at a point in the order processing, payment has to be made, right? We don't have a payment gateway. We need to integrate with maybe like a pay stack or InterSwitch or any of these payment gateways. The application should have a programmable interface that we can use to integrate with this payment gateway, be it an InterSwitch or a PayGate or a pay stack, to be able to complete payments on this system. So yeah, that's what an interface requirement is. Then transition requirement. This describes the condition or activities that are necessary to move the system from a development stage to the phase where it gets into the hands of the user and also the maintenance stage. So it means that we are developing, right? It's in the factory. So transition requirements are possibly like delivery. Moving it from the point where it's manufactured to the usage and also maintenance. So yeah, transition requirements are those activities that are necessary to transition from the development phase to deployment. So it could that requirement could be the system shall provide user training materials before the go live dates, right? So that is a requirement that has to be fulfilled before we put this solution into the hands of the user. They must be trained on how to use the solution. All right, then functional requirements. They are basically the functions and the features, the features that this software or the solution must perform, right? Like the solution should be able to allow users to log in using a username and a password, right? Or the solution should be able to allow users to sign up using their existing Google email and password. Something like that. It's a function, a particular function. Or we can say the system should be able to allow users save their preferred delivery address. That's a functional requirement. Now, non-functional requirements, the opposite of a functional requirement, these specify qualities or characteristics that the system must possess, but do not relate directly to any specific functionalities. So it can be response time, for example. It can be response time. It could be security requirements. That's like having encryption or having a two-factor or multiple factor authentication. It could be the user interface. Colors. Make sure this is an orange. All the buttons have to be in orange. The text have to be in white. We need to have a background. All of those things. And then reliability. The system should have an uptime. These are non-functional requirements, but they affect the whole of the system. The system should have an uptime of 99.9%. And then how do we handle errors? When an error occurs in the system, how do we handle these things? These are non-functional requirements. All right, so are we do we have any questions? I don't think there are any questions. So we can proceed to do our small project, right? Our small business analysis project to see how, what the function is, how we perform our business analysis work through a project, and what we need to do when we have a project. If you're with me, please drop a 1 in the chat. All right, guys, I see you. Okay, so quickly, let's just run through this. Now, an online retail company, it's a case study, it's an example. We'll just run through it briefly. Run through it briefly so that we understand the tasks and responsibilities of a business analyst, through this. If you're here, I would love to encourage you to take this program. A lot of things we might not be able to do in details here, but it starts you off. I tell my students all the time that they are business analysts already in the waiting, because by the end of the class, they would have that confidence to do their business analyst project, and we do projects all through the duration of the program. I mentor them like I would mentor my own subordinates in the office or the people that I supervise in the office, and then we work on real life scenarios that would add value to their jobs and their confidence as business analysts, right? So this, what we'll do here will just be a run through, but in detail, right, in class. Let me not say too much. A trial will convince you. All right, so an online retail platform for a company is facing declining sales and customer complaints about slow website performance. Users also report difficulties in navigating the site and finding products. The search functionality is ineffective and checkout processes are cumbersome, right? So this is a problem we have. Usually this is the only thing you get. And then you need to figure it out using your competencies as a business analyst. So first of all, what do we do when you get something like this? We define the problem. So the problem we have identified from this statement, the case study, is declining sales, customer complaints about slow website performance, then difficulties in navigating the site, the search function is ineffective, and then the checkout process is cumbersome. Except I really, 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 really want to buy. If I have all these problems, I'm not coming back. Especially if I cannot search for what I'm looking for and I manage to find it and I buy it because I can't find it elsewhere, I won't come back, except that's the only place they're selling that thing. So it's a real problem for the business. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to outline the objectives. The objectives are going to be identify the root cause of declining sales and performance issues. We're also going to improve the website user experience, including the search and navigation, right? We'll streamline the checkout process for higher conversion rates. Just like I said, I will not come back, except you are the only people selling that thing in the world, right? Then enhance overall website performance and responsiveness. That's what we are going to carry out here, right? Then we analyze the case study into SDLC phases. Now, SDLC refers to the software development life cycle. We're going to look at it here. It starts from initiation, planning, analysis. So these steps we are looking at here are the software development life cycle phases. We have a whole topic dedicated to software development life cycle in our program, which teaches you how to handle projects, at the different life cycle of the project, So we'll start with initiation. At the initiation phase is where we define the project scope, the objectives, and then who the stakeholders of the project are, who is involved with this project. Then we identify the business problem and assess its impact on the company's sales. Next, we are going to planning stage. In the planning stage is where we are going to look at the project plan, outline the task. Project initiation and planning is also one of the topics that we do here. Basically, we teach you everything that you need as a business analyst, to succeed on the job. Then when the project plan is drawn, timelines and resources allocation are done, which is what we are going to do here. We also create requirements documents listing the improvement areas for the website. Okay, that's what we're going to do in the planning stage. Then assess the risk associated with the project, because in every project there will be risk. We'll assess this risk and also look at the mitigations to these risks that we have identified. Then the analysis stage will come where we are going to gather the detailed requirements through user interviews and surveys. Because this is a website performance issues and all of that, we want to interview the users and do surveys. That is how we want to gather requirements here. We will also analyze the website data to identify bottlenecks and user pain points. Remember our requirement elicitation techniques, requirement gathering techniques, right? We are using interviews here and surveys. We are also using document analysis in the form of the website data. Then we'll conduct a gap analysis to understand the current state and the desired future state. So we'll see, look at what we currently have and look at the gap that exists between where we are and where we want to be, with the aim of resolving or closing that gap. Then design. It is in this stage where we're going to design user-friendly websites, layouts, which is going to be with the help of the user interface designer. At this stage, we'll create mockups for a redesigned search and checkout process and specify technical architecture changes required for improved performance, right? So the technical architecture changes is what speaks to the performance issues, maybe the uptime, the load time, and all of that. It is in the design phase that we're going to specify. That's what we call system architectural design. So in this design stage, we're going to design an architecture or changes to the architecture that already exists that would help the website to perform optimally. Then we'll move into the implementation stage, where the business analysts will work with the developers. Essentially, you provide the developer with the requirement document that you have, the requirements that you have documented, reviewed, and approved. That is what the developer will work with alongside the designs that have been done to make the changes and improvements to our website. Then once that is done, we'll proceed to testing, right? There are two kinds of testings majorly that we do: internal acceptance test, which is called an IAT, and then a user acceptance testing, which is called a UAT. Now, the business analyst will develop, we are now going to develop test cases. I know that some of these things may just sound like jargons to you guys, but yeah, these are all of the things that business analysts do and are very well covered in the this program that we offer. So we develop these test cases to have this user acceptance testing to validate these changes. Now, the user acceptance testing is called that way because we get a user in place to simulate the actions that are in the test cases to be able to, for us to determine that this website now meets user specifications. Of course, in the testing phase, we'll also collaborate with stakeholders to perform the UAT and identify any issues. So if there are issues, we take it back into the implementation phase and fix them. If we are good, testing is good, then we move to the last stage, which is within the next stage, which is deployment. We'll deploy this solution, to the rest of the users, or we can deploy it in phases, a subset of users that will use it and give us feedback. We monitor for performance during this time, and then if there are any changes that we need to do, we make the changes before we roll it out to all the other users. Now, maintenance here would refer to continuous monitoring of the website performance and user satisfaction. So after we have done these changes we have deployed, we also have to be able to check periodically to say, is it performing how we want it to perform, right? Is it meeting the user needs? Are users satisfied? If they are not, then we go back, gather feedback, go back to conduct another project to be able to fix the needs of our users. Then, what are the techniques we are going to be using here? We've discussed a few. Our requirements elicitation and requirement gathering techniques, we're going to be using interview surveys and data analysis. Data analysis here will refer to document analysis to gather user and system requirements, okay? Then gap analysis. Gap analysis is also one of the topics that we teach, extensively to help us. The gap analysis helps you identify the gap basically between where we are and where we are going to, where we want to go to. So gap analysis is a technique of its own, has several other methodologies that are used for gap analysis to help us identify those gaps. And then we are going to use process mapping, using a tool called draw.io to visually represent these requirements that we have done, or the gaps between what currently exists and where we want to go to. Then mockups and prototyping, we are going to create visual representation of the redesigned user interface. So we're going to redesign it, have a visual representation. Sometimes these mockups are even clickable. You can click and feel like you're using the actual website, but they are just mockups that just helps you visualize exactly what we are trying to achieve. Then user acceptance testing, explain that we collaborate. In this project, we're going to collaborate with our stakeholders to validate the system changes, in a user acceptance in a UAT. All right. Then performance testing. We're also going to access the website responsiveness and load times. That is during the testing and also during the pre-release, where we are releasing to a subset of users. We're going to be monitoring the website performance and responsiveness and load time during that time. Then stakeholder workshops. Of course, for requirement gathering, we are going to be facilitating discussions and requirement gathering sessions with stakeholders to be able to gather requirements for our website project. Then in the end, we are going to summarize the outcomes and benefits, right? So as a result of the project, that this should be basically at the end of the project after we have concluded the project. Remember when I was talking, I mentioned a lessons learned document, right? I explained that to be a document you maintain during a project to take note of what you are doing well, what you didn't do well, what you learned, what you should have done, in the course of this project. It helps you come up with summaries like this. Now, so at the end of this project, we are going to come up with our summary. In this case, it is, as a result of the project, the online retail platform experienced significant improvement. Now, these improvements are sales increased by 20% due to enhanced user experience. Website performance improved, reducing page load by 40%, that is 40% faster. User complaints decreased substantially, leading to a higher customer satisfaction. Checkout processes were streamlined, resulting to a 15% increase in conversion rates. Then the project demonstrated the value of proactive problem solving and collaboration between business analysts and project management teams. Your executive sees this, they will be, more than glad to trust you with more projects to do. All right, so that is how to conduct a business analyst project, basically, from the start to the finish. The techniques that you use, you need the competencies and all of that. So thank you very much, everyone. If you found this session very insightful, please give us a 1 in the comments. Let's see if you learned something while Elijah prepares to take over from here.
All right, thank you very much, Deso. Honestly, this was a bomb, like back-to-back value was being given. I really enjoyed the template shared on the requirements gathering. So if you are still awake, so we want to know the number of persons that are still awake out of the 45 persons that are on this call. So if you are still awake and you learned a lot from this session, so drop a 1 in the chat. So let's see. So drop a 1 in the chat. I can see that coming up. So we need more ones. We are up to 45 persons here, so we should get close to 30 ones in the chat. So if you got value from this session, so we want to see that one coming. Yes, thank you very much, God. Okay, awesome. God's time got a lot of value. Kemi got value. Samuel got value. So without wasting much time, so within the next 30 minutes, I want to show you guys how you can get started in the program. Yes, so just let me know. I believe you can see my screen now. So within the next 30 minutes, so just give me just the next 30 minutes. I'll walk you through how you can become a business analyst. Just like how, just what Tessa mentioned and shared via a slide. I will not be chipping it in. So as a business analyst, you are just like the bridge between the non-technical team and technical team. Yeah. So the CEO wants to get stuff done. You then have to connect the guys, the developers, the stakeholders, the analysts, come together, communicate the ideas together, try to understand the requirement that needs to be done so that a specific solutions can be brought to life. And with the business analytics program here, business analysis program here at Analytics, that is what we cover in our learning areas. The average salary of a business analyst in the UK is over £52,500. On an average, it means that you can earn higher than this. Yeah, depends on your experience and the kind of role you get to secure at the end of the day. And in Canada, you can earn over 74,462 Canadian dollars, right? And in the US, you can earn over 85,874 US dollars, right? So, and looking at all this, you'll be moving into another country, or rather you will still be in Nigeria. That's totally fine. If you quote the price, convert them to Canadian dollars, or let's say the UK pounds, or let's say the US dollars, these are the average salary you would get, right? Securing a job as a business analyst in 2024. And what are the key learning areas, right? With Analytics, we try to add analytics into our business analysis program. So we want our graduates to be, distinct from other business analysts out there, right? So some other persons might just do only business analysis, but with Analytics program, we try to incorporate analytics into our program, because why? You would need to interpret data. We want you to be able to, give decisions that are data driven, right? And that's why you get to do Excel, you get to do Power BI, you get to do SQL, right, as analytics, yeah, before you then move into the core of business analysis, where you then have to do process mapping, project initiation planning, Agile and Scrum for projects, software development lifecycle, like Tesso mentioned, like SDLC, requirement fundamentals. This is the bedrock of business analysis, because if you are not able to gather the right requirements, how then will you then solve problems, right? So you do requirement fundamentals, requirement elicitation. You learn stakeholder analysis and engagement. You need to be able to engage your stakeholders. Just like what Tesso said, it deploys several means. Just make them happy so that you can just sap your requirement from them. That's the end goal, because you want to solve the problem, right? You should be able to know how to engage stakeholders. You need to be able to know how to analyze who these stakeholders are. And lastly, because of technology, we're incorporating ChatGPT into our business analysis program, right? So you'll see that we are distinct, including ChatGPT, including analytics for our business analysis program. So what is the learning timeline, you might be asking? So with analytics, to get started as a BA, you need just 4 months, right? 2 months to learn the core of a business analyst, and 2 months to do an internship with analytics, right? 2-month learning process and 2 months working with analytics as an intern. And what will you be doing within those 2 months of interning with analytics? You'll be managing a web application development project, where you get to have individuals like developers, data engineers, data analysts in the same project like you, and you would manage that process of building a web app development project, right? So let's move ahead. All right. So now, why should you train with analytics? So why should you train with analytics? Our achievement in 2023, we were able to help over 850 persons transition from the classroom into getting their first job in tech across the UK, the US, Canada, Europe, and Asia. We helped 850 persons transition. This is not just coming to just train, right? We help them to transition from the classroom to landing their first tech job, right? Across the UK, the US, Canada, Europe, and Asia. And yes, you'll definitely be seeing some of those testimonials. right, coming up after my presentation. So why should you train with analytics? One, we have an up-to-date curriculum, right? Our curriculum is up to date, and that's why we've added ChatGPT into the tools you'll be learning as a BA. Because if you are not leveraging AI now, then you are sleeping on a long thing. Honestly, you are far behind, because there are some information that you need to get. You can chat with ChatGPT to help you get some information, right? Some of these requirements you can also relate to ChatGPT to get more questions. You can, ask some of your stakeholders, right? So up-to-date curriculum, industry expert with hands-on experience. Just like Teso, you can go right now on LinkedIn and check who Teso is. Teso has close to 8 years working as a business analyst, and he currently works as the business process analyst with Wema Bank, right? So we're not just bringing anyhow facilitator to come train you to becoming a business analyst. These are individuals that know their onions, right? So we have what we call the blended training process to accommodate everyone, right? The blended training delivery to accommodate everyone. So what does this blended training means, right? We have what we call the live session, and we have what we call the watch me do it video, right? So when you are done with the live sessions, you can always get access to the watch me do it videos, right? So after the program, you get access to the recordings, so you do not miss anything, right? And we use Google Classroom to structure this learning process so that you do not miss out on any of the content that are being shared during the live class and even during the Watch Me Do It video. So the Watch Me Do It video serves as an insight into what to be taught in the next class, right? An insight into what to be taught in the next class. So you already pre-informed, or let's say you're already well aware of what to be taught, because the live classes are always project-based. We are not just coming here to just do stories and stories and stories. We work on a real-time project, right, within the program. So we also have what we call the additional employability services. And I'll be showing you that in the next few slides, right? Because to get a job as a business analyst, you don't just need only the practical bits. You should be able to know how to land a job. You need to be able to know how to navigate the various job markets in the different countries, right? You need to be able to have a fantastic CV. You need to be able to brush up your LinkedIn profile. And I'll be showing you in the next few slides. And also, internship designed to stimulate the real world environment. Like I mentioned, you'll be building a web app development project with other stakeholders who would be the developers, data engineers, data analysts, data scientists, to simulate a real work experience. So you're not just coming here to just work on the project, then robots, you're probably speaking with a robot. Yeah. So you are working with an individual like you who have gone through the program, right? You guys work together to build up that application. And all these things equates you into an industry-ready business analyst. So how do we position you for success in the job market? We have three-layered approach. Just three-layered approach. So pay attention to it. So these are the additional employability services that we offer. So the first level is what we call the CV review session, right? Your CV is just a paper format of your experiences. You need to be able to have in summation in one page what you have been able to do as a business analyst over the years, right? So regardless of the career path you're coming from, either be it a tailor, either be it a fashion designer, you would go through a CV review session that would enable you tailor your CV into a business analyst, right? Because as a tailor, or rather as a farmer or whichever career path, you have been doing what a business analyst would do, right? For you to be able to solve a problem, you ask certain questions, right? So with this CV review session, we would tailor those experiences, all those years you've been as a teacher, or rather a baker, or let's say a farmer, or let's say into fashion. We'll tailor that experience into a business analyst. And that's why the CV review session is very, very important. So we'll go on to the next item under level 1. It's called the LinkedIn optimization session, right? So the LinkedIn platform houses over 1 billion persons in the world, right? And with LinkedIn, recruiters are always recruiting for talent that will come fill up roles. So if your LinkedIn has not been optimized, recruiters would never come near your doorstep, right? So immediately you have, if you go on LinkedIn now, just type analytics, you get to see all the projects that our students have been working on, and we push them to upload those projects they've worked on their profiles. Because when recruiters go to your profile, they want to see that you've been working as a business analyst, right? You're working as a data analyst, whichever of the roles, right? But ensure your LinkedIn profile is optimized, and that's what we will be taking you through in the program. So for individuals that also do not want to do normal 9 to 5, we have what we call the Upwork optimization session. For individuals that with this program, you can secure remote tech jobs, right? You don't need to do the normal 9 to 5. You can secure remote tech jobs, secure contract jobs right here in Nigeria, or let's say right there in the US, right there in the UK, and work in other countries, right, as a business analyst. We also have what we call navigating the job market, right? So you would agree with me that how you would approach the job market in Nigeria would be totally different from how you approach the job market in the US, how you'd approach the job market in the UK, right? How you'd approach the job market in Canada, right? So in this program, we will train you how you can approach various job markets, navigating them, right, and landing a job. And we also have what we call the job and interview preparatory sessions. We've trained you with all of the necessary toolkits you need to learn, right? And also the soft skills. We do not just leave you alone, right? So when you get those interviews, we also push you to apply for jobs, and eventually you land those interviews. You get to secure an interview preparatory session with a senior data associate that will sit down with you and work with you on how you can land your interview that have been scheduled, right? And we also have what we call the recommendation and reference letters. We are proud to recommend our students for jobs, right? So at the end of the day, you apply for this job and you've gotten it already, but organizations would need you to provide a reference, and that's where analytics comes into the picture. We will provide reference for you and say that you've worked as a business analyst within this so period of time, and you've enhanced this certain skill, and you worked on this project, right? With the recommendation and reference letter, we beat our chest and say, you are a product of analytics, and you've gathered those experiences through our program. So level 2 is what we call the weekly mentorship sessions, right? We bring in individuals like Teso, right, that has been working as a business analyst and worked with top-tier organizations in Nigeria, Wema Bank, Fidelity Bank. We will come mentor you, right? Because for you to be able to 10x your growth process in a new field, you need to be able to learn from the experiences of others. So why do you want to reinvent the wheel, right? When someone can just hold you through the process he or she has taken over the past 8 years. Those 8 years of experience is something you need to, you just need to, walk through with him. He's going to hold you and, until you land your first BA job. And we also have what we call the on-the-job support. At the end of the day, you get to land those jobs, right? And at some point, getting to this environment might be so new to you. You get within 1 month, we would still be with you to navigate your new job environment, right? We do not leave our students. We also provide on-the-job support for them. And level 3, we're promising you a guaranteed job interview after 1 month of completing the training with us. So you will definitely land an interview, right? And getting your feet into the door, trust me, you eventually land that job. In as much as you go through these 3 layers of additional employability services offered by Analytics. So how does the growth internship work, right? It's a 1-month training program, a 2 months rather for business analysts, 2 months that provides you with the opportunity to accelerate your career by equipping you with the requisite work experience, right? The whole essence of this internship is to make you stand out, make your resume stand out, and provide you with some level of exposure within a particular industry. Yeah? And how does this work? As an intern, you'll be working on real-life projects, like I mentioned, just like building the web application development project. Spend time learning about this field, networking with industry experts, because you will not just be working alone on that project. It's going to be a joint project. working with developers, working with other students that are currently doing their programs as a data analyst, other people that are currently doing their program as a data scientist, as a data engineer, as a cyber and security analyst, right? You come together, and those persons have rich network, and you network from there. Before you know it, you are growing your own community of friends, right? To gain real life project experiences. You get. All right. So that's the program, the internship. So immediately you are done with training with analytics, you have 2 months to hone your skills with live projects. So now, how do you join the next cohort in March 2024 on the 2nd? That's the next cohort in March, right? The discount is currently open to the first 10 persons, right? Last week, we mentioned that it was open to the first 20 persons. We've secured over 10 individuals that have registered to be part of the next cohort, right? But for now, to get started in the program, it is open for the next 10 persons. We are no longer doing the first 20 persons because those slots have been taken. So the discount is open only for the next 10 persons on the business analysis program. And to pay in dollars, the full amount is $750. In pounds, it is 625 pounds. In naira, it is 900,000 naira. But for the first 10 persons to register for the program, you'll be getting a discount for 600 pounds. Or if you are paying in pounds, rather $600. If you are paying in pounds, you'll be paying a payment of 500 pounds. And if you are paying in naira, you'll be making a payment of 720,000 naira. Yes, that's going to be for the first 10 persons. So for the first 10 persons, they're making this payment, right? So they're making this payment. All right, so they're making this payment. For the first 10 persons, you are making this payment, this discounted price. And you can make your payment in 2 installments. The first part payment being $450, and the second payment will be paid in a month into the training program, right? If you are paying in naira, you'll be making the payment of 540,000, and second part payment will be a month into the training program of 180,000 naira. So my colleagues are currently dropping the link in the chat. Ensure to grab this opportunity. Obong, can you confirm if the student that want to share testimony is on the call? Please do confirm to me. So yeah, it's always
she's on the call.
Until awesome. It is always impossible until it is done, right? So I would love us to listen to some of our students who are doing marvelously well. She started our program in February, and she would love to share with us some of our experience of how the program have gone. Then I'll come back also to share with you some of the success stories of students that have gone through our program and have landed jobs. Just like Modisola got a job as a business analyst in the UK. And she sent this message to Adeza. I said, "Good evening, Adeza. I finally got that offer from the job, and I am to start next week." Right? So this is Modisola going through the program within 2 months and 2 months internship, and she landed a job as a business analyst in the UK. And this is Olamide. He got a job as a business data analyst in the UK, working in the energy sector. And this is the confirmation. Still in December, right? He went through the 2 months training program and 2 months internship with analytics and landed a job as a business data analyst in the UK, working with an energy sector, right? And this was the conversation he had with Adeza, right? I would also share with us some of our students that have gotten jobs, probably after we hear a live testimonial, right, from one of our students. This is also Abigail. Abigail got a job as a business analyst in Edmonton, Canada, and she moved from a care worker in Canada to business analyst. It was because of our mentorship and project-based classes and our dedication that helped her land a job in Canada as a business analyst, moving from a care worker. Right? So regardless of your background, you can also land a job as a business analyst. So over to you, Rubong. Yeah, is Sheila on the call? Let me spotlight her. Please let me know. Okay. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. Over to you, Tumi Ladi. Are you still there? Hello, Tumi Ladi. We can't hear you. So I'm asking you to unmute now. So we can. All right. Do you want to show your video to us also? We can get to see your face. Right. Okay, okay. I'm spotlighting you for everyone now. You can't actually see your face yet.
1 second, I'm trying to open my video.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, I think he's out now. So before Temi Lade comes on, I'll quickly share my slide and we'll just play one of the testimonials from here. So you get to let's listen to Ramat. Ramat, I was able to get a job as a business analyst in the NHS in the UK after training in our business analysis training program. Right. So I'll quickly just share Ramat's story and we would get started with that. Please let me know if he's back so we can just get started. Yeah. Right. So I'll just quickly share this. Right.
My journey with Analytics. Hello.
All right, so let's
Hi, good day. My name is Ramat, and if you're stumbling on this, trust me, you've landed in the right place because I'm going to be briefly sharing my experience with you about my journey with Analytics and how I was able to get a job within 3 months of joining the cohort. I joined them and enrolled for the course. Analytics as well-seasoned facilitators who are experts in the field. Imagine not having any experience beforehand as a business analyst and finishing with Analytics as a pro. Personally, I also got interview preparation sessions that helped me prepare well for my interviews, and this enabled me ace my interviews. So if you transition or you're having any doubt, trust me, you shouldn't, because Analytics is really amazing and you should consider enrolling.
Okay, all right. I don't know if Temilade is here now.
I'm here. I'm trying to open my video.
All right. Okay. We can just hear you. You can go ahead and we'll try to fix that later. Does that work?
That's not a problem.
All right. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone from maybe that I know. So you've been cold here. I'm in Canada, Ontario. So I'm seriously freezing because I just got back. So apparently I joined February cohort. I just moved into Canada with my family. So I'm trying to get a job and all that. As a business owner from Nigeria, I have my own business and doing well. I feel it's not all the business that someone will vent to Canada, like all these millionaire jobs and all that. So that's what comes to me that made me join Analytics. Now, ever since I joined, it has upgraded my skills. Although I have little knowledge, let me just say no knowledge. But when I joined Analytics, I found out everything that I thought I knew about Excel was just elementary. So ever since I joined, I never knew anything about Power BI before. So I would say I heard it for the first time during the training with Analytics and all that. And the only thing I knew about Excel tech was just Excel and just elementary, not the inside Excel that Analytics had to show us, had to show me. And ever since I've been laying my head on all kind of documents. I wish I can share my screen and just But this app is giving me headache, and I've been complaining for like 2 days now to Ubong and ISOS. I think they knew. So, but later on, I could do a video of myself and send it if they want it and talk more extensively about it. But in all, I think I would recommend analytics for anyone that asks me where did I get my skills from and all that. And the teacher ISOS thumbs up 10 over 10 for him. Ubong, after class service has been awesome. Calling me, anytime I send a message, they will reply and all that. Although some message might be late, for which I can understand. That they might be busy or to attending to other things, but at least they are always answering our questions, always giving insights about whatever issue we have. But analytics is 100 over 100. No going back, no going back, no going back.
All right, thank you very much, Tumiladi. There's no problem. I really wish we could probably see your face and you probably show us some of the projects you've worked on. But I believe we would call you next time to do that, right? So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate. So just like
he's working now, Abby.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so what? All right, okay, I think that must be network issues. Okay, let's just continue. That's like what Tomilade mentioned, right? So within the program, like I said, it's a learning, it's part of the learning areas. You'll be learning Excel, you're learning Power BI, you're learning SQL. And he said he has never used Excel in that manner before. So you might feel you probably know Excel, right? But try to join the program. You get to use Excel, Ask a Business Analyst, right? So the discount, like I made mention of, is for the first 10 persons and not longer for the first 20 persons, right? Because we've been able to secure, some persons have secured 10, over 10 persons have secured the first discount, right? And we are just opening it for the next 10 persons. And the program starts in March 2nd. So if you are looking to get started in the program, ensure to click on the link my colleagues are sharing in the comment section to get started. So I'll quickly walk us through the payment platform. So I'll click on mainstack.me/enrollment, right? And I'll share this side of my screen to you. Just give me a moment and I'll walk you through how you can make payments with the enrollment link. Right, just give me a moment. It's pulling up. Fantastic. All right, so you should be seeing my screen now. Yeah, awesome. So once you click on that link, it takes you to the Analytics Enrollment Center, right? And in this Enrollment Center, you get access to the brochures, right? And this is the pricing, again, to just reiterate, right? And business analysis is in the first 5. So you'll be making the discount payment of 540,000 naira if you're in Nigeria. If you're in Canada, you're making a payment of 600 Canadian dollars. If you're in the UK, you're making a payment of 375 pounds. If you're in the US, 450 US dollars for the first part payment. So you scroll down here to make payments. You can do a direct transfer to the pounds account. But if you want to have a seamless process, just go through the links to make payments, initial and full payments. Scroll down here, you see business analysis. So you click on business analysis. So just give it a moment. It's loading. Fantastic. So you get to see this, right? So you see 720. So because I am currently in Nigeria, so it's going to it's location specific. So if you're in the US, it's going to change the payment plan to dollars for you to make payments easily. If you're in the UK, it changes to pounds, right? So suggest the payment method you want to. How much do you want to pay? Right, so you cannot pay anything less than 400,000. So you can just type in your payment of 540,000. So if you want to pay lesser than 540, you can always pay 400. You want to break the payment, right? You can pay 400 now to lock in your discount, right? So you can pay as low as 400 to lock in your discount. To be part of the first 10 persons to lock in your discount. So you suggest the price, then proceed to make payments, include the necessary details, and proceed to make payment. So if you are willing to get started as a business analyst in 2024 March, get started right now. The link my colleagues are sharing in the comment section, right? So I'll be showing. So if you have questions, please ensure to ask. You can drop that in the comment section. I'll pick you up from there and I would share with you. All right. So Cryptic Online is asking, do you accept cryptocurrencies like BTC? You can make use. We do not accept BTC at the moment, but you can make payments in dollars using the payment options as shared above, right? To ensure to, if you have questions, please send it in the chat or put up your hands and I'll take you right away. So we just have a few minutes here, so please keep your payment coming in, right? So I would just want to share one of, let's listen to Abigail, who was able to move from a care worker down to a business analyst in Canada after taking the training program. All right, so just give it a moment for it to load, and I'll share with you the story of Abigail. Abigail got started
ebook using a feature called Word.
Right, so let's see.
Hi guys.
Okay, good.
Hello, Abigail. How are you doing today?
I know. I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm very well. Where are you joining us from, Abigail?
I'm from Saskatchewan, Regina, Canada, but I'll be moving to Edmonton end of the month for my new job.
Brilliant. All right. So Abigail would like to hear your story because, of course, you know, there are so many people here. They want to become business analysts. They've always found it very difficult and think that I must be the most intelligent person on earth to transition or become a business analyst. So tell us about your story. How were you able to make the transition yourself?
Yeah, so coming to, you know, you have this mindset when you come from Nigeria to Canada, you just thought you are landing the 6-figure job and then you are going to be rich in the next 2 months, 3 months or more. When I came, there's a different story. I choke. So I was unemployed for some time, like it was depressing in and out. So I thought to myself, like, I used to think like I'm intelligent, but no, Canada told you are not intelligent, like it is zero. So I've always, you know, I got this certification of business. You know, sometimes you just do something. I always say it even in class, you got it and you don't know what it means. You don't know whatever, you know. So I had it and then the search for job, I was called for interviews and all of that. So possibly, I think I fumbled a lot in the interview. So I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I need to do something. And then a friend saw the advert of Analytics and like, do you think this is something he could do? And before he could answer, I'd already paid my money because I know I needed coaching and all of that. So I did the coaching. It was in the coaching that I realized I have entered a one chance since that I don't know anything actually, even though I thought I knew. So it was in the coaching that I was, you know, I was really coached to the extent of there was one thing that is it Adeze or the other guy said, like you could be a carpenter and be a business analyst. You could be a mother and you are a business analyst or a project manager. You could be selling pure water and you are a business analyst. So talk more of somebody that is a professional, like you've worked for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, maybe 15 years. So you are certainly, you know, a business analyst. So what I did after the lectures and everything, not every day I got the time to go through the lectures, everything changed. My mindset changed, my perception about how to go about answering questions changed. So I'm like, okay, now you need this job so bad. How do you think you are gonna like be able to nail it? Now, before then, I was still doing like my $15 job, $17 job, where somebody that got just 2 years experience, 3 years, will come and show you, you need to do this. You don't know, this is, you know, and you're like, oh my God, like I've managed, you know, tons of people in Nigeria. Like I have a lot of subordinates, 15, 20, 5 maybe. And then somebody is telling you don't know how to do things and it feels like, Okay, no problem. It's not your fault. It's Canada that caused it or something like that. So I now told myself, okay, after the lectures and everything, which I'm really appreciative and grateful about, um, I now told myself, the dull you inside your head, how are you going to do all this? Because it seems like a lot of information, a lot of things to deal with all at the same time. So what I did, I picked all the business analyst terms, all the terms. So I made sure I know all the terms of business analyst. I crammed it basically. I crammed the elicitation, I crammed what is the use case, I crammed the communication diagram, I understood what is cost benefit analysis, requirement analysis, business case, quality control gap analysis, process mapping, functional requirement, non-functional requirement, bottlenecks, collaboration, system enhancement, prioritization, traceability requirements, stakeholder collaboration, cross-functional team, all of that. Now, naturally, these are things that we use every day. These are statements that we use in an everyday life. But now it has moved to BA, they have changed the same topic and everything. For once, if you say requirements gathering, it could mean like, okay, give me the document to open an account. But now it has turned to BA, the name has changed to requirements gathering. So what I did to myself is understand the meaning in BA terms, what it means. Okay, requirement gathering, what is gap analysis? Like, this is a problem. What causes the problem? What do I need to do and all that? So like I crammed, I learned these terms that when you wake me up, you tell me what it is, I know what it means. So after that, after I did that, when I go to interview, I made conscious effort not to call customer when I need to say stakeholder, so that you would think in your head that I am a professional, even though my head is still dull somehow. So that is what I did. I crammed the terms, which can help some of us, because now, like they explained, it just feels like a lot of information, like, oh my God, all the big terms. But when am I going to learn all these things? Like, when am I going to understand what is functional requirement again? What is it is very simple functional requirement. It is like, like it is as simple as ABC. So what I would tell you guys, to get it faster for you guys, is to understand these terms and start using it in your like daily day life, so that when you go to interview, it just comes naturally. When I had the last interview, it just feels like I felt like I did a lot of rubbish. I like, please just send me my sorry mail. I'm already used to the sorry mail. And then I was surprised. It just like about a week or two, and I got like a reference check, and I sent to some of my friends. I like, oh, I think you got the job. I'm like, no, I can't get this job because it's big. Like, why should you? I'm a care worker. Why should you give me a supervisor, business analyst, supervisor role from being like a care worker? No, like that's not possible. The gap is like 3 times what I'm making, and like you are giving me so amount in an hour, and it's not the 6-figure yet. So we are getting to the 6-figure, I'm sure, eventually, but it's really, good enough for a start, as somebody that you've always thought maybe you are not a BA, you don't have idea what it means, you have nothing, and all of that. So now the good thing is I'm going to be reporting to the manager data analyst, and then I also want to join the class of the next session of, data analyst, because like you said, like I'm clueless. You said there was a guy about being a BA, but he's clueless about what, he's clueless about being a data analyst. So I think it works hand in hand. So if any of you is here and you think, just if you think about it, then trust me, you are a BA. If you just think about it, then you are. No need to like think, oh, I've not done this. All of us have been BAs. That's what they've always told us in analytics. And I'm really glad they did. Like they push you, that they make you can ask the silliest and the most stupid questions, and then it just feels. I ask stupid questions, trust me, stupid questions that people will feel embarrassed to ask. There was the time they had the interview session, I refused to do because I know I was going to goof. And we laughed so much for about one guy that was saying, they asked him one question, like, what is, all of us shall busted into, like, it was really funny. And trust me, guys, you need this. You need the coaching, you need the classes, and I think you need to be a BA, because being a BA, I tell myself is an advanced administration and customer service officer or something like that. So would you rather be paid as a customer service officer or would you rather be paid as a business analyst? Some people get their first job and it's a 6-figure. Some of us have not gotten to 6-figure yet, but we will. Just yesterday, I had like 3 interviews yesterday, and you need to see the confidence in me when I was negotiating. At a company told me they are going to pay me $53 per hour, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. I need to pay me $65 per hour. And in my head, I'm like, look at this one. I mean, what are you doing? Like you are negotiating. So I think when you know what you are doing, you know all these things. It gives you some certain level of confidence, and you know you can go and get it, you know. I mean, it's not a big deal. I have friends that are VA, they push me, they say you can do this. So like I feel like the dumbest person in the world. And then if I'm able to nail this job, then trust me, anybody can. All of you can. Yeah, I mean, I'm dull, but you know, I got it. You guys can, but you need to understand it. You need to know the language. You need to know what it means, and you need to use Analytics. I am going to be on the next class for the data analysis because I don't want to go and be like a mumu. When you say do this, I'm like, huh? What did you say? What does that mean? So I need to be on that class, really. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Analysis. Thank you, Ubon. Ubon has been in trouble with me. Oh, my God. So thank you for everything. So this is my story. I'm going to move to Edmonton by end of December to start. They actually wanted me to start like a week after the offer, like, no way, you know. So I'm starting by January, and I hope to see all of you guys maybe in my company or something or whatever. So see you guys soon, and don't miss this chance.
All right, that's a very fantastic testimony from Abigail. So if you want to get started as a business analyst in March, this is your ticket to becoming a business analyst, right? So we have a lot of testimonials, right, of students that have gone through the training program and have secured jobs, right? So some of the projects you will work on, because I mentioned that it's a real life project. It's a real life scenario-based training. That you're working on some of the projects that have been displayed on your screen, launching a sustainable parking solution in a consumer goods company, development of a customized CRM tool for Craven Consulting, a mid-sized consulting firm. So all of these projects are real companies. Yeah. So what we try to do because of data privacy, we mask them, right, to suit our training. Yeah. So you work with a lot of real life case studies, customer behavior and marketing analysis, a case study. Yeah. You'd work on electric vehicle adoption in Washington state, and there are a lot of programs and projects you'll be working on, right? So it's a 4-month learning program, like I made mention of, 2-month project-based live classes, 2 months internship, working on managing a web app development project, and it's an instructor-led program. So for individuals that might be saying, I would not have time during the day, I would love to join the evening class. So it's fantastic for you to suit you as a person, right? So regardless of wherever you are, you can join the program. We have 2 training time, the morning session and the evening session. Right, on Saturday, which is the live class, during the morning for individuals in Europe, UK, and any other European countries in Africa, Europe, UK, and there you'll have a training time from 11 a.m. down to 2 p.m. West African time. While for the evening session for guys for guys also in the UK that might want to join the evening session, and individual in North America, that's the US, Canada, right? Training time to 9 p.m. and 10 a.m. That will be 10 p.m. Mountain time, 1 p.m. Mountain time. Same thing applies on Sunday for morning session from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. and the evening session from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. I don't know, does someone want to ask a question? I think someone was unmuted. If you want to ask the question, please put up your hand and we'll be calling it a day shortly, right? So if you want to get started, be part of the first 10 persons to jump on this discount. Yeah, so be part of the first person to jump on this discount. and we'll see you in March 2nd, 2024. All right, I think it's a good night from here. If there are no further questions, do have a great day and lovely night. Cheers, everybody. I remain like have a good day, everyone. Cheers.